This video this video specifically is to respond to Nalora's questions that she posed to me in response to the video that I had posted on YouTube, my presidential election 2004 video. I recently came into possession of some videos that I had made 2 years ago, and the reason why I'm putting them on YouTube now is because originally they were hosted on a different web server, but that web service failed, and I was left without access to them. I now have access to them, so I've been posting them up, and I've gotten some responses, and it's kind of cool. Granted, it's not very many, but that's okay. I appreciate the fact that at least one person saw what I had to say, and that's pretty cool. The point being is that Nalora had posted some questions to me regarding my comments about George W. Bush. Specifically, it was a generalized question, just the overall curiosity of the reactionary venom, as she put it, that people have towards George W. Bush. She feels that people's reactions are completely unfounded and blind. It's blind hatred. It was blind hatred towards George, and she didn't understand why. So I started to respond, or I did respond with some text, but I also asked if she wanted me to make a video, and I felt I should make one anyway. I was looking forward to doing this. I haven't done it in a long time. So I figured this was a good start. Politics is always something that gets my blood boiling, so I figured might as well begin. So to answer your question, I don't believe that a majority of the people's dislike for George W. Bush, now granted this is all speculation coming from my personal perspective, I haven't talked to everybody who hates George, so I couldn't begin to tell you. But I believe that a majority of the anger that people hold towards George W. Bush is based solely on one fact: the separation of church and state. That's it. To answer your question, George's personal policies, philosophies, and overall grounds for his function are based on his faith. He makes decisions for the rest of the United States and the rest of the world because he reads the Bible and goes and prays on Sunday. Now, there's a large constituent of people in the United States that also read the Bible and go to church on Sundays and pray. They all believe that our government needs to have a stronger moral fiber, a foundation to which all other decisions are based from. And I totally agree. I totally agree that morals are an important part of society, because without a strong moral base, a society would collapse into itself. I don't believe that morality is based on the book that the Catholics espouse as the Word of God, but I do believe that morals are necessary. This is not a matter of a moral issue. This is a matter of a religious philosophy dispute. There's 50% of the United States, supposedly 50% of the United States, that want George W. Bush in office, that voted him there, and that support him, and his philosophies, and his concepts, and his policy. Then there's the other half of the world being the United States in this context, speaking, the other half of the United States that doesn't. And that's the half that you're asking me about. Now, I can't say that it's a half of the United States that hates Bush or has issue with Bush. I'm just using this in regards to some people believe in his policies, some people don't. You want to know why people get angry at Bush and start foaming at the mouth and wanting his head on a pike? Because the man is subjecting us to policy that he is basing on his religious beliefs. He's not basing it on science. He's not basing it on statistics. He's not basing it on fact. He's basing it on religion. And the problem is that religion is not fact. It's not. Just as you cannot prove undoubtedly that God doesn't exist, you can't prove that God does exist. There's faith. Religion is based on faith. It is one of the primary tenets of religion. The belief that regardless of everything else, it's true. It's faith. Faith has no grounds in policy. Faith has no grounds in diplomacy. The problem is that George W. Bush is taking his personal faith and subjecting the entire world to it. I'm not saying that George can't be a Catholic. I'm not saying he can't pray. I'm not saying he can't have a moral base. I'm not saying that he can't live his life in the way that he chooses to. He has that freedom. He's an American. We Americans have that freedom to an extent. It's becoming more of a clouded issue as of late, but for all intents and purposes, we have the right to live as we choose. However, he's not doing that. He's subjecting everyone in the United States to his policy. If his policy was that child molestation was an acceptable thing, there's a constituent that would support that. And there'd be also a huge outspoken constituent that wouldn't. Now, you're going to say to me, how dare I compare the two? How can you use child molestation as a reference in this particular case? And I'll tell you, because one group of people believes it's okay, another group of people strongly believes that it's not. It's really just that. It's just that simple. If you want to read more into it, that's obviously your prerogative. The simple fact of the matter is that people believe that morals are necessary. Great. People believe that religion is necessary. Great. People start believing that religion and politics go together, and I say, let's go back to the origins of our country. Our country was founded on religious belief. This is true. Technically, it was founded on the want for religious belief. The United States, when the Pilgrims came over, they came here to escape a church state. The King of England, who was a Catholic, had created an environment for the Protestants that was so hostile and so detrimental to life that they left to seek freedom of religion and betterment of themselves. They no longer wanted to be persecuted because they did not follow the Catholic tenets. That's one of the things that a lot of you guys forget. The United States was set by Protestants, not Catholics. So the next time you want to step up and say, oh, well, we created the United States, and the United States was created on the belief of the Bible. It was created on Protestant belief of the Bible, not Catholic belief of the Bible. We're not currently dealing with a Protestant president and Protestant policy. Keep that in mind the next time you want to step up and shout about the religious foundation of this great nation of ours. Secondly, the same people that helped build and fight for this country created a document that specifically said separation of church and state. Religious beliefs have no grounds to be involved with policy. That is why people are angry. That is why. Now, you can get it all wrapped up with all the ribbons and the bows and, oh, well, you know, same-sex marriage and homosexual rights and all that stuff. I mean, there's different things, but it all comes down to the same thing. These policies are being created because religion and politics aren't separate. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that you responded. I also enjoy your videos very much. I think, like I said, I think your medium is great. I love what you do. A little twist of irony, I actually was one of the beta testers for there before it launches. Before it launched, I was one of the people that actually tested the base code for it. So I think it's kind of cool that you're actually using it. It's small, brings the world a little closer. I'm going to be posting other videos in the future about different things that I believe, but I really wanted to get this one up because I wanted to address your question. If you have other questions regarding this or just in general, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll be happy to touch on it. Thank you, Laura. I really do appreciate the responses.